So this is what you're going to need in order to develop your own token. And don't worry, guys, it's not so complicated. It's actually easy. And you will need Remix Ethereum IDE. This is where you'll actually put your code. And then you will need MetaMask, which is an extension that you can find when you click here. And then you'll see MetaMask. So I do have a video showing you how to exactly get the Chrome extension for MetaMask. So you can follow that video, but then I'll show you quickly how to do it. And then you will need Vanity Ethereum. This is to generate your address, your wallet address, so that you can test if your coin, you can actually send coin to another person. So you need that. And then you will also need my block, because that's where I put the code, the working code. So the one I'm going to use, it doesn't really work. So you can get this code from GitHub. But other than that, you can just go to my blog, lindysherries.com, create a token on Binance Smart Chain in 15 minutes. That's the blog post, but then it is easy to find that blog post. The last one, you will need Binance Smart Chain FORSAGE. So this is where you request your BNB, your free BNB, because remember, we're going to create this in a test net, so in a test environment, so that you don't waste your money by creating on mainnet. So when you create on mainnet, you actually do need to have like your real BNB and your smart chain in order to create that token. But now we're going to use testnet. So to get started, I want to share just a bit so that you get an understanding of how this coin thing works. Where do you create these tokens? You obviously create these tokens on blockchain, but then there are different types of blockchain. So the 4 ones that I know so far, it's the BTC one, Bitcoin, where Bitcoin is created, but then in this one, there are no smart contract. So that's why the first generation of smart contract was created, which is Ethereum. So because it was the first one to create smart contract, that was actually a bad thing for Ethereum, because that's when there was a demand and it wasn't scalable enough to handle the demand of the fame of being the first blockchain to create smart contract. So that's why you started experiencing your gas fees that went high, and most developers actually moved to BNB smart chain. And then the second generation of smart contract, which is still being developed, is Cardano. So this one, I'm not going to talk too much about it because we won't be using it to develop. So BNB, which is Binance Smart Contract, is the one that we're going to use. So it's actually a copy of Ethereum, except now it is cheaper to develop it. All right, so this is where you actually develop your coin or your token. And then in order for you to develop your token, you just go to remix.ethereum.org. So which is better, because then you don't need an environment where you set it up and do all these things. You can just create online and then deploy it and also compile it using this Ethereum remix. So to create a coin, it's easy. But then maybe I should just start by creating a coin and then show you how to actually navigate and fix the errors. So you don't necessarily need to fix the errors. I'm just showing you how to fix errors so that next time when you create and you experience an error, you will know how to create it. So to get started, you first need to check the compiler. So the compiler that we want to use, it's 0.82, which is this one. And then the next thing that you'll need to go to workspace, and then this is where you click this thing, and then you will create your token, the token.sol. So it doesn't matter what you name your token contract. You can name it whatever you want, as long as at the end it has .sol. So after, when you create here, I'll just copy the code that I have, which you can get from my blog. This is the blog where you can get the same code, but this one doesn't have errors. It's already compliant. I did check it and fix it so that you don't struggle. So when you come here, you would see, let me just go through the code while fixing so that I can show you what to do. So when you start, you actually create your contract, which is the token. Remember, I said it doesn't matter what you call it, but you can call it whatever you want. And then this is just like the version of Remix that we are using, the Pragma solidity version. So we're using 0.8.2. And then the mapping is like your hash tables where there's just the association between two parties. So that's why we need this one to create association. And then when you start, you declare variables which you need in your code, which is here. And then the first one is total supply, which is 10,000. So you do need to know that you can have 1 million total supply or 100. So these are the number of coins that you will have. And when these coins are done, then that's when you will be done with your coins. And then, so what happens, like, for example, when you go to blockchain, no, to BNB, you see that the total supply of BTC, let me show you quickly, so that you can see when you open BTC on CoinGecko, you would see that there is a total supply of 21 million. So at the moment, I think we are around 80 million. So when we're done with 21 million, we won't be able to mine Bitcoin. So that's the total supply I'm talking about. And then you go back and then you do need to declare this as an int. So in integer, it's a number. In code, and then a string, it's where you can put your name, your token symbol, and also with int as well, you can specify the decimals. So if you don't specify the decimals, it means a person must buy one of your token. But then if you specify the decimals, it means we can buy fractions of these coins. So for example, imagine if Bitcoin, they didn't specify these decimals, it means we would have to buy one Bitcoin, in which would be around 500 and something thousand, which we couldn't afford. But because of these decimals, we are able to buy a fraction of a Bitcoin. So the same thing will happen. So you specify the total supply, and I would say it's 10,000, and then you specify, this just shows that up to 18 decimals. And then you specify the name of your token. So you can name it whatever you want. So I can even say Lindim, but then that's not the right name. You'll select the right name, Lindy token. And then you can specify this. So this symbol is what crypto exchanges will use to sell your one. So for example, Bitcoin, we don't call it Bitcoin, we call it BTC. So it's the same thing. So you can give it whatever name you want, LTN, that's the coin. And then the decimals are already explained. So events are, it's like your inheritance. If you want to use this outside the smart contract, so you need to call an event to call this inheritance. And then a constructor is the only function that will actually initialize the creation of your coin, and it will only execute once. And then let's go down. So then after, there are different functions that perform different tasks. So for example, the behavior of coin, the editing, and also there are functions to also view. So you see different functions like balance off. It will be used to actually show the balance of a coin. And another one, it's transfer. So when a person transfer, you need to state from who and going to who. So this one, it will show the address to, and then money will be obviously in values. And then to compile, you actually checking if there's errors, and then just to see if all is well before you deploy. So what you do, you would click here and click compile. And then when you see an error at the bottom, there must be an error in your code. So you just scroll until you find the error. So when you click it, it will show you that there's an error with this bracket. So when you remove the bracket, you would see that when you compile again, the error is no longer there. And then when you look at this one, it's a total supply. And I already declare it here, total supply. And then I did even specify the data type that it's supposed to use. But then, so I don't need this one. So I'll just remove it. And then you compile again. This return value shouldn't be true. It should be bool. So bool, it's like a data type that takes yes or no. And then you compile again, and then you will see that I no longer have errors, but then I see there's an error there, which is warning about license. That one we won't need to worry about it. Now, when you look at here, I didn't type solely, I typed solely duty instead of solely DT. So that as well needs to be fixed. And then when you look at here, you see that now my code is compiling well. There aren't any errors except a warning that says you must put the SPD license, which is not provided of which is not a serious thing that you need to add. And then let's go back. Now you're ready to compile your code, but then before compiling your code, you need to check specific things. So when you come here, you need to specify a Web3, but then before we do that, let's go and check how to set up your MetaMask, because you do need to have Ethereum, one BNB in order to pay for gas fees. So when you go to your MetaMask, which is here, so if it's not here, let me just close it so that you can see. So you basically go here and then you click MetaMask. And then this is an extension that you create, you get from Google Chrome. And then there's a video, you can just watch that video on how to create it. And then you don't have, when you first start, you won't have anything on this one. So the reason it's showing Ethereum instead of BNB is because BNB smart contract was actually, smart chain was actually, it's a copy of Ethereum. So you'd see Ethereum. And then you need to set up your network. So you need to be on test environment first. So there's a Stand test network, and also there's a mainnet. So when you deploy, finally, when you go to production and you're happy with your token, you will use this one. But for this one, you will use testnet. And then you do need to add Binance Smart Chain. After creating this, you then need to add money into your test net. So to do that, you'll have to copy this address and you go to this site, Binance Smart Chain Faucet, and then you paste this address. So what you're doing here, you actually requesting Binance Smart Chain Faucet to give you some BNB, and then you click give me 1 BNB. Now, when it's funded, when you go back to your MetaMask, you see that money will be loaded, Ethereum will be loaded. It's actually 1 BNB is loaded. It's just that we don't have BNB on this one. So you're done adding. So the next thing, you're ready now to deploy, and then you change the environment to be injected Web3. And then it will connect to your account, and then you click next, and it will connect. So now that it's connected, we can continue. So this address, when you look at it, it will be the same one as that one on your MetaMask. And then now you need to go check and evaluate that the token that you have created, because we created contract token, it is there. And then now you're ready to deploy. So when you click deploy, you'll have to go, it will link to your MetaMask, and then you'll have to confirm, because this is the amount of gas fees that you will pay. So after clicking confirm, you would see at the bottom, it's saying creation of token pending. So you just wait. So now when you look at the bottom, you'll see that our token was created. And then when you go on your left-hand side, you would see that there was a contract that was deployed, and all transaction deployed, contract and function execution in this environment can be saved. And then when you click token here, you'd see that all the functions that we're busy creating are actually there, like the total supply. When you click your total supply, it will show you how many coins you have. And remember, it does work with 18 decimals, so it will also show you there. And then if you want to see your symbol, you'll see that the symbol is LTN, and the name, you see that it's Lindy token. And then if you want to see the balance of this contract, in my contract, you can just go up there and copy the address, which is this contract, and then come and put it here, and then click balance. It will show you that I have this balance. So now let's just try and test it to see if we can send some tokens into another address. So that's where you need Vanity and Ethereum. So what you do here, you just click generate, and it will generate an address for you to use to test this. And then let's come here and then say you want to transfer from one address to another. So remember, it takes two arguments. One is the integer value of how much you want to transfer and the address. So you can see address to comma integer value. So what you do, you put this and then you type comma, and then you want to transfer 10 to this address. And then what you do, you just click transfer, and then metamask should open because you're transferring from this contract, and then it will give you the amount and also your contract, also your symbol. And then you can just click there. And when you look at the bottom, you'll see that the transfer is actually starting. And then when you wait for it to finish, and then when it's done, you can just go and check the balance in that new address. So if this works, then it means your contract was created successfully. You can send and you can receive as well. Also, just to add, you can also see the pending transaction on your MetaMask. So as soon as it says it's done, then you know that the transfer was done successfully. So wait for this to finish, and then after we'll go check if there's money in that wallet address that we have sent this money to. Right, as you can see, the the money that we transferred, it is sent, and you can also see at the bottom here that it was successful. So now we need to go check whether the balance of this, it's actually the 10 that we transferred. So if you want, you can go back and get the contract ID, address, and then come to balance and you paste, and you can see now that the 10 of your coins were actually transferred to this wallet address. So congratulations, you now know how to create your own smart contract, your own token, and I've given you everything that you need to know. And this is what I know so far. Next time we'll cover deploying this into production, which is the mainnet. Remember the mainnet I talked about, which is this one. And that's where we'll start adding a photo and start adding and start maybe applying for launch pads. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. And I hope you now know how to create your own token. Don't forget, please don't forget to subscribe, share the video with people. I actually want as many people to learn about blockchain because it is not so complicated. It's something that we can learn. And I want as many young people as we can to get into the space of coding because it's not really hard. I mean, I have the code for you. You just need to apply. Thank you so much for watching, and please do share the video with your friends, with your parents, with your grandmother, everyone, and help me to get to 10K before December. Thank you so much.